We got Jeremy Pogue here, Iman, Eddie Cumberbatch, Sam Millsap. I want you to look at what's circled in red. 44.9k followers, 2.2 mil followers, obviously it's Iman. 164,000 followers for Eddie, and 368,000 for Sam Mills. I want you to look at those numbers and think of it as a library of just leads for you to take. Leads for you that have already engaged with these guys, people who are teaching pretty much the same thing that you're teaching, but they've already engaged, they follow them, they already like their marketing. But these are now your library to snatch leads from and funnel them into your own funnel where you get into reverse selling them, right? So every time your competitor grows, so do you. And the more leads your competition has, the better for you, okay? And I'm gonna get into exactly how this could possibly make any sense whatsoever at the end of this video. And right now you're probably thinking like, this kid's fucking retarded. That sounds stupid, but let me explain, okay? So your competitors, when they grow, you will grow alongside them, okay? So traditional models right now is your competitor will make a lot more money for a lot longer than you, okay? You're the yellow line, the competitor is the blue line or the black line, right? They will make a lot more money for a lot longer than you because they have what's called an unfair advantage. And I'll get into what the unfair advantage is just in a second, but they started right here, obviously a lot higher than you for some reason because they have an unfair advantage. Now, the info product industry was at its peak at about 2020 to 2021 because of the COVID situation, and everybody was online trying to figure out how I can make a buck without going to work. And, the smart guys realized, we could sell our information and our expertise online and people will buy it, right? So the profitability was at its highest at 2020 to 2021 in the info product industry. And this was because there was so much demand for people wanting to learn online. They heard about it. This was like, what is online business? What is online money? This is insane. There were so much people wanting to do it, and there was not a lot of people teaching it and releasing that information. There was very low ad costs. Like, ads weren't a thing where people would just comment, "Nice try, Diddy," on these. Were like, what is this? Like, I got hit with them a couple years ago, like Ty Lopez ads in his garage. Like, I didn't know what they were. No one knew where ads were. But now, anytime you see an ad, it's a "Nice try, Diddy. Get the fuck off my page." No one wants to see that, right? And there was very high trust because there was no gurus. There was no gurus in here trying to scam everybody. People had high trust because they'd never seen it before and they just wanted to learn. There was high leverage for the seller, right? And it was basically not saturated whatsoever. And that was at the peak. Okay, now where we are right now in 2025, not at its lowest, it's still pushing. Like, this info product industry will keep growing. Trust me, it will keep growing. This isn't the growth. The growth has gotten higher. If it was a growth chart, it only goes up. But in terms of profitability, it was like at its peak in about 2020, 2021. And if you guys have anything you want to counter that, throw it in the comments. But right now in 2025, we have very high demand, right? Like I said, the growth has been consistent. It is going to keep growing until like 2030 at least. It's just going to keep shooting up. So very high demand. People still want to learn online, right? If not now, more than ever. But there's also very high supply, right? So following basic economic rules that you've learned in like sixth grade, supply and demand, there's very high supply now because there's probably you guys can probably name 10 people in your niche, 10 competitors. I bet you guys right now, if you figured out, okay, this is my niche, let me try to think of 10 competitors, you'll think of it in less than 5 minutes. I guarantee it. Rising ad costs have been like absolutely insane. My cost per book call was about like $200. I had a 9x ROAS, which was really good, but cost per book call, $200 per booked call is mad, right? And that wasn't a thing back then. Like, trust me, I've talked to guys that were killing it in 2020, 2021, and that was not a thing. And it's essentially a flooded market. There's just a ton of people who want to sell online, and a lot of them, 80% of them, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'll tell you guys that right now. Because of the gurus, there's low trust. It's hard to get people to actually believe in your product or service because people can now just think that you're just talking nonsense. You're talking out of your ass and you actually have nothing backing up the statement that you're making, right? So how do we combat this? Actually, well, before we get into that, now you can see why there was an unfair advantage, right? The reason why these guys have an unfair advantage, your competitors, the reason why they can spend $10,000 a day on ads or a month on ads, let's be realistic. They spend about $500 to $150 a day, anywhere around there a day on ads, and you're doing what, $20, $30, $40 a day maybe on ads. These guys are whooping your ass because they have an unfair advantage because these are the guys that came and had their peak in 2020 to 2021. They had a whole bunch of capital. They have capital to spend ads. When you kind of just jumped in, you saw an Iman Gotzi video, you saw an Alex Hormozi video, and you're like, let me try online business. And you don't have any capital to spend on ads because you spent $1,500 on an Iman course. I'm speaking from my own experience right there, by the way. So now we get into the David and Goliath theory. So David, which is you you don't have a ton of capital, you have great value, you can produce great results. And if you can't produce great results and you have shitty value, go fix your offer, because I only work with guys who already have a really structured offer, and then we go in and make it better. Anyway, you probably have a little following. Anywhere under 20K followers on Instagram is pretty small. And Mark Zuckerberg fucking hates you. Mark Zuckerberg hates us because we're not spending enough money. We're not giving him enough money, essentially. That's why he hates us. So, and the Goliath, your competitors, have a ton of capital because they made a shit ton of money. They were very profitable in 2020 and 2021. They have great value, just like us. They can produce great results, just like us. They have a large following because they've been growing it for like 60 years now. And Mark Zuckerberg loves them. And when Mark Zuckerberg loves you, he's going to give you better leads. He's going to give you better CPMs, right? That's just how it works. When you spend more money, when you give him more money, he's going to give you better results. That's just how Facebook works, right? Now, how do we actually combat this? You being the little David and you want to defeat Goliath, how do we combat this? I want you to think, what would you do if all of your competition's leads saw you instead of them? Or they saw them as well, but they also saw you, and you pretty much snatched them from your competitor's funnel. And I'll get into that in a second. But we need our competition's followers to see us. That's the main premise here, is we need our competition's followers to see us. Okay, because if they don't see us, even though if they're the exact lead that we want, they're not going to purchase from us. They're going to purchase from our competitor. They're going to purchase from Goliath, right? So what we do is a super simple system. It goes with mass engagement, automated human-like initiation, DMs and convos and stuff like that, and then flip the script sales, right? So what that entails is, number one, we need to figure out your competition's ads or your competition's at. So right now, like I said in the beginning of this video, if you can think of 10 competitors, write down their ads, their handles, their Instagram handles. And what you want to do is filter if you want to target their followers or their likers. Find the people who have liked their posts, liked their ads, or find the people who have followed them. Most of your competitors have ran follow ads. They're running follow ads, yada, yada. And their DM, their CTA is follow me for more information and check out my past content. I've ran countless ads just like that as well. And all your competitors are doing about $150 to $200 a day minimum on these ads. So you want to find if you want to target their followers or their likers. Once you do that, you have found their leads. You have identified their leads. Once you've identified their leads, you want to mass story views. Okay, so what mass story views is you're viewing all of their stories, whether it's the first, last, or you're liking their first story and you're liking their last story, but you're viewing all of their stories. You're viewing all your lead stories. So they look at you and they're like, okay, who is this guy viewing all my stuff? It's human-like behavior. They want to know who you are because you're popping up so much, because you're going to be engaging with their stories as well. Any quiz they post up, any poll they post up, you're going to be engaging with the sliders, right? This is very human-like behavior. They're going to wonder who you are. They keep seeing you every single day, okay? And then we do regular, just generic account engagement where you're going through, liking their last 2 posts, commenting on their posts, liking any comments on their posts, things like that. All we're doing here is getting our competitors' leads to notice us as humans. We are there as humans, and they actually want to talk to us because we're so engaged with them. Now, when a lead sees us engaging with them, and if you're helping, let's say, for example, you're helping other info product business owners scale with, I don't know, some kind of SaaS product or something like that, maybe a certain funnel, right? That info product owner is going to see you follow them or see you engage with them, and they're going to try and sell you. Right? So that's where we get into the flip the script sales, and which I'm not going to fucking dive into that completely because that could take a whole 3.5 hours, where essentially when a lead follows us or when we follow them, they're going to DM us, hey, appreciate the follow, exactly how you do to your leads, but we need to flip the script on them, and it works phenomenally because they know we're humans, right? And all of this stuff, you can hire out to a VA, you can hire a VA to do all this, you can give your setter a big ass raise to do all of this, and you can probably do about, I don't know, maybe 400 to 500 a day, maybe. But my team and my clients right now and myself, we're doing about 5,000 to 10,000 interactions per day. This is all automated in my software, but it also goes into an automated day. Now look, your competition, this is just 4 random competitors. We got Jeremy Pogue here, Iman, Eddie Cumberbatch, Sam Millsap. I want you to look at what's circled in red. 44.9K followers, 2.2 mil followers. Obviously, it's Iman. 164,000 followers for Eddie and 368,000 for Sam Millsap. These are just random competitors. Not even my competitors specifically, to be honest. But I want you to look at those numbers and think of it as a library of just leads for you to take. Leads for you that have already engaged with these guys, people who are teaching pretty much the same thing that you're teaching, but they've already engaged. They've followed them. They already like their marketing. But these are now your library to snatch leads from and funnel them into your own funnel where you get into reverse selling them. Now, what it looks like in our system, like I explained earlier, we have a system that automates this, and we have multiple accounts doing at least 5 to 10,000 interactions per day, and that's per account. So what it would look like, obviously I have the lead name blurred out, but the source came from Jeremy Pogue, and it's literally this guy right here. Jeremy Pogue, who helps coaches scale with ads and setters, right? And I help coaches scale as well, right? Since he is targeting my ICP as well, we know that he's running ads. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to hijack his ads. And this is completely, all of it follows Instagram's rules. But what it looks like is we targeted his likers, people who liked his posts. What we did, what our software did, is we mass viewed his stories. So we looked at all his stories and stuff like that, or all of the competitors' lead stories, and they saw that we were viewing all their stories. We liked our competitors' leads, followers, or liked their posts and stuff like that, their last 2 posts. All this stuff for them to see that we exist, and we also sent them an automated DM. The only time our software will send a DM is if we get an interaction as well. So it's not just going to do some random cold outbound DM. Once we get an interaction and see that that follower saw us and that follower or that lead actually engaged with us as well, then we will get our automation to send a DM, right? Now, the result was we got that lead to reply to our DM, where then we booked them into a call, things of that nature. Everything goes down the rest of the pipeline. But this lead came from Jeremy Pogue. Jeremy Pogue's ad paid for this lead. And this is just one of them. This is literally just one of them, right? So now you understand why every time your competitor grows, so do you. So the more ad spend Jeremy Pogue will spend, the more money he spends on ads doesn't hurt me anymore. It only helps me because my software will just keep snatching these leads. All right.